talk about LSU's defense. What do you say to them? Obviously athletic and speed is apparent.
Yeah, I mean, as always, they're extremely athletic, as athletic as anybody, not only in our league, in the country. Got some really, really good players. Good guys inside on the run. Obviously got a great pass rusher, two really good linebackers. One of the better defensive backs, a white kid in our league, but he's not the only one. They're really solid now on the back end. And their schemes changed a little bit. Obviously, we know Dave. We had a good one with them in the Outback Bowl 2 years ago, and they're playing really well right now.
Speaking of that game, how much does that actually help as far as when you go back and look at what Wisconsin did, or is it like just the players and the athletes so different?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it probably helps both sides. You know, they're watching it, we're watching it, so it's there's some familiarity there, and I'm sure there'll be carryover. I'm sure there'll be changes. It was a good game. I think we both had some success at different times in the game, and but it's kind of like in our league. You know, the same DC stays for 3 and 4 or 5 years, and we stay, so people get used to everybody. So, you know, there'll be some things that are different, but and obviously he's got different personnel, so he's playing to the strengths of his personnel. But you know, he's been successful for a reason. So there's a lot of carryover.
Rick, what kind of insight can you get about their offense from Kevin and vice versa? What kind of insight can Damian get can they get from Damian about your offense?
Can we get about their defense from Kevin? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, you know, obviously personnel-wise, the scheme's different because he's not there. But you know, Coach Steele knows those guys very well. He recruited some of them. He coached every one of them. So, and you know, he's been very complimentary of all of them. And then obviously Damian, you know, was here with us for 3 years and knows our personnel very well. Obviously knows our scheme, and so that's common in football, though. I mean, you have coaches change and bounce around, and you know, there'll be some probably assisting on both sides. But at the end of the day, it's a player's game, and they'll go out and play.
Have you guys changed signs since Damian left?
Are you really?
Because it was a thing in the national championship.
I didn't think it was a thing. I think it was a thing that was made. Right, but I didn't think it was. So we're good. But that's a good question. Is that a RoboCop shirt?
It is.
Throwback. It's impressive throwback.
Rick, you just talk about talk about Sean and John and how they performed last Saturday. And where you see that?
You know, I did not think Sean played poorly at all. He started out very well. You know, there's a couple throws that he'd like to have back in terms of just, you know, maybe finishing a drive. You know, we were in way too, you know, if you look at the first 3 games, really the thing that stands out is we've just been in way too many 3rd and longs. And the reason for that is it's pretty easy. If you look at each drive, the ones we stay on schedule, and what I mean by that is we don't get behind the chains. We usually have pretty productive drives, and whether it's the first play of the drive or even as the drive starts going, something happens to knock us back. We usually find ourselves in a 3rd and longer yardage situation we need to be in. We've actually been pretty productive, less than 10. I mean, not like out of this world, but very solid. But we've had a lot of 3rd and longs, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're not going to convert a lot of those. So I think Sean's done a nice job. We got to do some things to help him out. John got in there, and we just needed to try to have a spark. I thought he made some plays and was a good spark. And, you know, but there's some things that he just needs to play so the instincts kick in and he'll get better.
And Brett, how are the freshman receivers coming along with Darius Slayton?
Yeah. They're doing well. You know, sometimes you can hit a wall because you go through summer. Now everybody brings their guys in the summer, which didn't used to happen as much. So they've been here most of the summer. And then they go through fall camp, which fall camp, if you haven't been in college before, fall camp's like a season almost mentally as far as a high school kid goes. And so some guys at some points they kind of hit a wall, and you got to push through that wall. And but we're going to keep playing those guys. I think they're all doing a nice job. And, you know, we just got to continue to give them opportunities and increase their opportunities.
What does Darius need to do to take a step forward?
I think Darius has done well. You know, when we've thrown the ball to him, he's made the plays. He's done a good job playing without the ball. He's tried to play tough and play smart, and I think he's been a very steady player for us. So he just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and when his number's called, keep making plays.
What makes Arden Key unique as a pass rusher?
Arden Key?
Yeah, unique compared to a Garrett or a Hall?
Yeah. You know, there's some similarities in their quickness in that first step. I mean, his length is what stands out to. He's a really long, wiry player. He's built to rush the passer, and he does that very well. He may not be as thick as some of the other DNs in our league, but he's really good at getting off blocks. So even if he gets out of position, say when you're running the ball, he can recover and get off a block. He doesn't stay blocked long, and that's a good characteristic of a good defensive player. And so, and he seems to be a kid that plays hard and has a knack for when they need a critical play on a third down or whatnot. He seems to be that guy who comes through and makes the plays for him. So they got a lot of good players, but we definitely got to know where he is at all times.
When you've struggled in these two games with defensive lines, specifically, whether it be individual matchups right
Yeah.
there or this past week where it's more schematics and
Right.
calling, how do you try to have confidence? What do you look to change beyond? I mean, it almost sounds obvious. You don't make a certain mistake or something, but
Yep.
schemes change, matchups change. How do you try to avoid it when you're going up against another elite pass rusher?
Well, you got to go play, and I think there's a fine line. You got to be smart, okay? You got to give your guys a chance, and you can't put them in situations that aren't fair to them, okay? And but there's also that balance of if you get too conservative trying to not mess up, you don't make any plays, and you end up still messing up. So you got to still be aggressive. You got to find a way schematically to do that. I really think, to be honest with you, our offensive line, particularly our tackles, did a decent job last week in pass protection. Really, 3 of the sacks were not their fault at all. One of them was a bootleg, and the guy runs straight up the field, and really we had no chance. The other one was the first play of the game that nobody had a chance on that one. And then another one, we could have thrown the ball away. It wasn't there. We held the ball too long. So, that was a concern going into the game for sure, because just as a matchup standpoint. So I thought they did a good job holding their own. And so they just got to continue to improve, and we got to continue to try to make sure we protect them in the situations we need to. But we still got to, you still got to go try to play and win the game. You can't play scared. You can't play not aggressive, but you also can't play stupid. So you got to find that fine line.
Red, on that, Gus said, hey, we got to take more shots down the field. It's something we've heard before.
Right.
How much is it where you just have to take those chances and try to play that, kind of walk that line?
Yeah, you got to let your kids play, and you got to give them chances to make plays. And probably in that last game, to some degree, you're worried, man. We got these 2 pass rushers. We don't want to, put our guys in a bind. And so, like I said, there's that fine line. You got to stay aggressive, but you got to be aggressive in a smart way. And we do. We got to give our guys chances to make plays. It's a player's game, and so we got to give them those opportunities, and they got to go make them.
Several players have said, even right after the game Saturday, that this game they've had circled on their calendars because of the way LSU beat you guys. How do you try to corral that and also get them ready for a game?
Just kind of where we are, I think this is a huge week for us. It's a cliche. It wouldn't matter who we're playing. Obviously, we're playing a fantastic opponent. I haven't heard any of our guys talking about last year. You look at it, last year we went to their place and we had beat them pretty good the year before, and I don't think that really had anything to do with that game. So each year's its own year. Our guys have had, particularly today, we threw and caught the ball well. I thought we had a good day, bounced around, flew around. The energy's been really good at practice. So, our guys have, there's a great character and resilience, and we just got to push through and get over the top. And obviously it's a huge challenge, but I haven't felt our guys really worrying about what happened last year, other than we just need to go win a game and play well.
Rhett, how much work is Woody Barrett getting during the week, and have you seen improvement in him over the last few weeks?
Yeah, he's getting work. He's staying with us and with me. He's not on the scout team. He's staying with us. But, when you're getting guys ready in a normal game week, you usually can only get 2 guys ready. So he'll get some individual drills. He'll get some reps and throwing routes and stuff. But when it comes to team reps, he's not getting a lot of reps just because there's not enough time if you're trying to get the number 1 and number 2 guy ready. So, but he's getting better. And, just got to keep letting him play. And his development needs to continue to improve, and it is.
How much more ready is John at this point? You spoke back in August that if someone's not ready until week 6, you're not going to put him in that spot.
Right.
We've seen him in a couple of games. He's obviously presented a different dynamic.
Mhm.
Threw a little bit when it got out of hand. But how much more, in your assessment, is he ready for a bigger role than he was before the season?
I think he's definitely more ready than he was. And, the thing about it, he's getting all the reps in practice now, with the 2s. And I think that's done nothing but help him. He's played now in some games, some real plays like drives, game experience, not just a special play here or there. And I think things are, slowly slowing down for him. And so, we'll just continue his progression. And he's the deal when he's in practice, he's expected to know the whole offense. So it's not like, hey, don't. And I think from a mental capacity, knowing it's not the problem, now can you go out and execute it and react and be instinctive and situationally in the game? Hey, it's 4th and long. I got to extend the play and make it happen. Just be aware of the down and distance. All those little things that come with playing the position that you just got to know and you got to do, because you can't call timeout and tell them in the middle of the game. And so I think he just needs to continue taking the progression he's taken, and when he gets in there, ignite us and make plays.
Do you consider Cameron Petway or Karen Johnson starting?
I think it's a co-deal. I mean, they've both shown great ability to make plays and be tough. I mean, obviously, Cameron Petway got rolling last week. But when we brought KJ in, right before half and even in the third quarter, I mean, he popped some good runs for us. So, again, kind of like we said at the beginning of the year, I could see those guys complementing each other well, and so far I think they're doing that.
How important has it been for you guys when you knew kind of what Petway was, but to see him do it in the games and do it in that level, how important has that been for you guys just as play callers?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, to have a downhill physical guy, I mean, he gets in the second level, people don't want to get near him. I mean, they're going low in case y'all noticed that last week. And, we had our first real scrimmage in fall camp. That's when I think we kind of knew, like, he had that ability. I mean, he had some runs similar to what you've seen. And so I think that gave us confidence that it would carry over to the game. And obviously he's been a big spark for us.
Rick, do you really feel like this is the first year? Because, I mean, it seems like each year we've kind of heard you guys say, well, hey, if it ends up being by committee at running back, we're okay with that. But it seems to always work out that one
Right.
ends up being the lead back.
Right.
Is this the first year you feel like it could be a by committee?
I think it could be. I know in 06 we had Darren McFadden and Felix Jones, and I know here at Auburn we've had guys like Ronnie and Cadillac, and I'm not putting those guys in that same category and breadth, but you have two really solid players that both need to play and both are very productive. You're going to continue to play them both, and you hope that, each game may have a little different personality on who's kind of feeling it more, and you try to stay with the hot hand, but hopefully not only are that we're more productive because we have two good players, but hopefully those guys are able to stay productive, longer throughout the season. So I don't see any signs of either one of them slowing down with their productivity and their opportunities.
You go back and watch Petway on film. How good is his vision? Because he's bouncing a couple of holes out. I mean, has that even surprised you guys at that knack for doing it?
Yeah, for a big guy, I mean, he's got some quick feet now. I mean, he can get in and out, and he can what we call jump cut, like y'all have seen him do sometimes. But what's so special about him when he does it, he's still going north-south. He doesn't. There's no east and west in Petway, and I think that's why he just seems to generate a lot of yards quickly, because he's going that way, and some people want to get out of the way of that.
Anything else?
Greg, there was a lot of talk about Chandler Cox and what an important role he would
Yeah.
play this season. Doesn't seem like he's played as much as I guess I expected him to do.
Right.
Just talking about where he kind of stands.
Well, he's played quite a bit. He's kind of in that Jay Prosh position. And so sometimes, I know we tried to hit him on that first game. We overthrew him for the touchdown. But, that position is not necessarily a stat monster. But there's a lot of productivity that may not show up in carries and receptions. But his role is pretty vital to our system. And still, though, there'll be times that this year that he'll have opportunities to make plays, and I think he's very capable. And also, just with our running back situation, he's a guy that can run the football. And, right now the way Carrion and Cameron are running it, he hadn't had to, but that's also still something that he can do.
How pleased have you been with Chandler doing that lead blocker and all that, Jay?
He's getting better. He got a lot more running back reps in fall camp than we had initially were intending, just to make sure we had guys ready. And so that probably hurt him a little bit in the continued development, that H-back role. But the last couple of weeks, I mean, he's been full bore in that, and I think that's helped. And Chandler's a tough guy. I mean, he's going to be physical. He's going to be hard-nosed. And he just continue to work his technique and get better fundamentally so he can sustain the blocks. I think he's getting better.
Jason Smith seems to have fallen off the map a little bit. How's he coming along in practice to try and work his way back in there?
We've had no problems with Jason. I think we gave him the ball early in the game last week. But, right now it's just kind of the guys that are earning the opportunities are the guys that are playing.
Just to clarify on the offensive line, right, because you guys kind of left it a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah.
Potential changes. You speak highly of the tackles. We know that the guards are quite good, so you're not expecting any changes necessarily this week coming up to the line, starting line.
We just kind of keep those kind of things in-house as the week goes. But all I was trying to do is I know when you have negative plays, the natural inclination is to get upset with the O-line. But there were still some productive things. I mean, we need to play better everywhere. I think that's obvious. And so, but right now I feel good about those guys, and we'll just see what happens on Saturday.
How are they blocking with the receivers?
It's better. You know, it can improve, but I think it's been better this year. And I think that's why you've seen some longer runs so far this year than we had last year, probably.
I know this is like a generic question, but I mean, how much do you think this game is going to mean to Damian? I know everyone's going to say, well, it's just another game, but I mean, you come back to play your alma mater.
You know, I'm sure it's important to him. You know, he had 3 good years here with me that I knew him, and we've got a good relationship, and I got nothing but respect for him and his family, and you know, we love his wife, Neek, and I just can only, I mean, I was not half the player Damian was, okay? But when I go back to Arkansas the first time, it was a little different just because it's, but you know, again, he's, after that game gets started, it's just any other game, and after you do it, it becomes a story, but it's just a game. And you want to win every game pretty bad in our league, so regardless.
Thank you.